Welcome to What's Happening. My name is Kate McMahon and I'm your host today. And I'd like to welcome Janice Hank. She is the chair of Cape Cod PATH. And we also have with us today Katie Parache, and she is from the Barnstable Police Department. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
You bet. What I would like to start with is, could you please tell our viewers a little bit about Cape Cod PATH?
Absolutely. Cape Cod PATH is an organization that is trying to talk about human trafficking on Cape Cod. So what the acronyms mean is People Against Trafficking Humans. And when we talk about on Cape Cod, everyone asks, what does that mean? There's human trafficking on Cape Cod. So our job, our mission is to eliminate human trafficking on Cape Cod through education. So most of our members on our task force are trained by Homeland Security, and we're trained to do presentations. So that's our job, is to do presentations all over the Cape and just to have an awareness of what's going on and get people to have their eyes open and to know what to do in case they do see something or someone that they think may be trafficked.
Education is huge, isn't it?
It's really big.
Important.
Absolutely.
Right.
Now, Katie, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Katie is at the Barnstable Police Department, and she's also part of the task force.
Correct.
And I believe you have been for a while now?
I've been a member of Cape Cod PATH for a little bit over a year and a half now.
That's great. And would you mind, from your perspective, your professional perspective, talk a little bit more about a definition for human trafficking for us?
Well, so it kind of throws people off a lot when you hear the word trafficking, but it's defined by law as forcing somebody, labor, sex, or other, through force, fraud, or coercion. That is the crux of the crime. So it's very broad, and you have to delve deep to really understand what's going on. It's not about being in traffic or moving somebody. It's far more than that.
And I was talking to Janice earlier, and I was surprised at the prevalence as well on Cape Cod. Do you find that, Katie?
I can tell you that part of what makes human trafficking surprising, that it is happening on Cape Cod, is part of how we have always perceived what's going on as a crime or not. And we define it traditionally in different ways. So the Cape Cod is a tourist area. One of the biggest ways sex trafficking happens is at hotels. Cape Cod is lined full of hotels, so it makes it a particularly opportune area. If you wanted to traffic individuals, it's easy to get in and out.
Okay, thank you for that. Can you talk a little bit more about the training that you receive from Homeland Security?
It's like a day-long training, and we see several little films, and we get scenarios about what can be involved in human trafficking and how to identify traffickers and also victims, and what to do about it in case you do find someone that is trafficked. But it's a day-long process of really just going through and finding out how global, local, and what's scary is it's really one of the high top commodities, illegal commodities. Used to be drugs, used to be gangs. You can buy and sell drugs just like that once. But for a human, you can buy and sell an individual at least 20 times a day. So the drug cartels and the pimps are noticing that, hey, we can make a lot of money in human trafficking. So that's where now what's happening is just very prevalent, and it's very alarming.
Yeah, sounds like it. Now, can you tell us a little bit about, are you a 501c?
Yes, we are. We're under the auspice of Cape Cod Foundation. So we're a nonprofit, and we are looking for donations to help us buy equipment so that we can go out and we can present to different organizations. And we're looking for volunteers. We meet once a month at the West Barnstable UU. And we're just out there just to spread the word. And so we're all about education. We're also in the schools. We try to get to the middle schools to teach, children and young adults about what's going on out there. Cyberbullying is huge too, so we have the social media aspect as well that can hook, anyone in.
Yeah, sure could.
So
Now, if folks want to get in touch with your organization to volunteer or provide donations, what's the best way for them to do that?
well, we do have a website, and we
Okay.
also have an email address. You can just go to www.capecodpath.org. Also,
Great.
info.capecodpath@gmail.com.
Great, that's awesome. We did talk a few minutes ago with the training that you mentioned, Janice, that they help you better understand what some of the clues are going to be. Katie, could you share anything based on your experience, what our viewers should be paying attention to?
Absolutely. So, I mean, depending on what's going on would be the clue, but so people frequently in and out of an area that aren't living there. For example, hotel rooms being very prevalent, something that we do work very closely with local managers that somebody rents a room but they're not staying in the room. Constantly having people that aren't in the room come in and out, moving hotel rooms but staying in the same hotel frequently. Having like a business where the shades are always drawn, where they're advertising massage services, but there's no really way to actually order a massage. People not being able to communicate. A lot of times we talk about that gut feeling, and it's there for a reason. It's when you see something and that gut instinct says that doesn't look right, it's probably because it's not right. And
Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt.
healthcare workers are particularly seeing a whole lot too, where especially young women are being brought in for STIs and other issues, and they're being brought in by a non-custodial parent, by somebody else, and ripped out of there very quickly. So those types of things they're giant red flags.
Okay, great, thank you. And what should someone do if they suspect any kind of human trafficking, Katie?
There's lots of different things. First, definitely call your local police department. Also, you can contact Homeland Security, and you can do that via website. You can go to Department of Homeland Security. You can call their 800 number. But the reason I ask for people to call their local police department is, though Department of Homeland Security, they do a tremendous job at investigating it. If it's an emergency and that person or persons that person is seeing needs help now, they're not going to be able to get out to that person in an emergency situation. People can call police departments and give information anonymously. So if they think something might be up, but they're too afraid, what if I'm wrong? The people are going to feel that I've accused them of something. You're always allowed to call the police department, give information, and ask that you don't have to give your information in order for the police to investigate it. We will still look into it. At minimum, we will go knock on the door and check on the individuals. And at minimum, we can make sure that if they're not in danger at that moment.
Excellent.
And that's very important.
Yeah, very important, very important. Now, you all have an event coming up at the Osterville Library, June 10th. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, please?
Yes, that's one of the reasons why I got into this organization. About a year and a half ago, there was a presentation at the library in Wellfleet, and they had an amazing film called Not My Life, which talks about children, a sex trade all over the world, and it was very powerful, and they had a panel afterwards with a survivor. Katie was on there as well, and it was so moving to me that I just said, I have to be involved in this organization. So what we like to do is we like to have it all around the Cape. We like to present. So Osterville Village Library, we're going to be having it on June 10th at 1 o'clock, 1 to 3. So we're going to be showing that film, Not My Life, and then we're going to have a panel discussion with some incredible people. One of the persons is coming, they're all coming from the Boston area, which is Peter DiMarzio, who is our contact person for Homeland Security, victim assistance specialist, and he works all over New England. It's just amazing how he just works all over the place. So he's going to be there. And Stephanie is going to be there as well. She is part of Amira, which is a safe home. And there's also going to be Sherry, and she is going to be here, and she's going to be talking about her organization that she developed, Angels 30,000 Feet. She trains a lot of people that work, a lot of staff, and a lot of attendants, air flight attendants that work in the airlines, of how to identify if you see someone that you feel that really could use your help. And so she's going to be here talking about her organization. And we're also going to have a victim, survivor, who is an incredible woman. And so there's a lot of hope. You know, there's a lot of like sadness and things like that, but there's education, there's hope, and so I really think it's going to be a fabulous program.
It sounds like it. The list of the speakers that you have, it's an amazing list.
Right, they've done a lot, and they've worked a lot into the field, and once we have a connection with someone that's being trafficked in the life, we call it, once they decide that they want to get out of the life, sometimes it takes maybe 5, 6, 7 times, we have that connection. And then they need a place to stay. They need a safe home. And so with that safe home, there's counseling, trauma counseling, they have job training. So there's a lot of safety there and a lot of just healing that goes on in a safe home. So those safe homes are very important for these individuals.
That's great, very much so. So again, that happens on June 10th at the Osterville Library from 1 to 3.
Yes.
And it's free to
It's
the public?
free,
And
and
free.
there'll be light refreshments.
Right.
It'll be a good time for all.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate it.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Thank you.
Thank you.